All right, we are live from the Fox Sports Radio studios. Our next guest, former Packers executive, now host of the Business of Sports podcast. And we go way back to the old network, Andrew Brandt.
What's up?
Andrew, how are you?
Yeah, indeed, my friend.
I know, it's been a long time. How you been?
I'm doing well. I'm glad football is back because, my world is the opposite of the normal world. I'm busiest when they're not playing games.
Right.
With all the business of the game going on. It's still going on, but soon they'll be focusing on the games and not all the business.
Absolutely.
Speaking of the business of the games, how surprised were you that Kyler Murray didn't get a fully guaranteed contract? After Deshaun Watson was able, and Murray put on a stink fest all off season, but he got 160 instead of the whole 230 and a half fully guaranteed.
Yeah, Rob, I know we're going to get to the other part of the Murray contract, but this is really what I focused on because Deshaun Watson set the table for a sea change in NFL contracts at the top. Like basketball and baseball, and it's right there for everyone. And there have been two extensions since, Derek Carr and Kyler Murray, with Lamar Jackson about to happen, we think, in the next month. But I thought that Watson would change the game, and he still might. But the Raiders and Cardinals have been successful in claiming what all owners are going to claim, which is, hey, Watson's an outlier. He's an aberration. He had other teams bidding for him. He was like a free agent. And it's up to the agents and the players to press the envelope and push it and say, no, that's the gold standard. That's the new market for top quarterbacks. I don't care that the Falcons and Saints were after him. That doesn't make a difference. So Murray's contract comes out, and the agent spins it, and it's $46.1 million a year compared to Watson's $46. But then you look deeper, as people like me do, and you see, well, it's a 7-year deal, not a 5-year deal, and it's 230 something over 7, not 5. It's still a nice cash flow.
Sure,
it's still $36 million a year. But as you said, total guarantees like 150, but the real guarantees like 100.
See, that's crazy to me.
Wow.
And then 100, again, people are like 100. 100's a good number, yes. But this deal is basically, as I see it, 3 years, $100 million or 105. And then we'll see. We'll see what happens. But the Cardinals have control after that, whereas Watson has control through the whole deal.
Wow. Now, you mentioned the other part of the contract, of course, that being the homework clause.
Never seen that.
Unprecedented.
Yes, never seen that.
Stunning. What do you make of I think it's embarrassing not only for Murray, but also for the Cardinals, because now maybe you cleaned it up a little bit because, as you said, it's not quite the money that it looks like out there. But still, the feeling is, why would you kind of invest so much in a guy when you got these kind of questions about him? So what are your thoughts on this whole thing?
Yeah, Chris, a lot to unpack here. First, like you, and I've been doing this 30 years, between being an agent, running the Packers for 10 years, and being a media analyst. I have never, ever seen a contract clause like this. I have never seen legislated study in an athlete, any athlete, where you have to legislate, you have to enact a law in your contract that requires study. Like, what? So what I'm sensing here is that, there's also $9 million of workout bonuses. You got to be there 85, 90% of the time in the off season. So what I'm sensing is Murray and his agent were really picking at the Cardinals all off season. Rumbles of discontent. We need a contract. He's been playing for peanuts on his rookie deal as a starter since day one. And the Cardinals are, yeah. And finally, they realize this guy's going to be a real pain if we don't sign him. And they gave him the money. He got the money. But they said, all right, if we're going to do this, we need more of a commitment in the classroom, film study, and in the weight room. And we're going to financially incentivize it. Now, there's no money attached to the homework clause. But for people who don't understand default, What it means is if he breaches this, and as I read it as a lawyer, he could breach it 1 week, like week 1, and subject himself to the loss of future guarantees for the rest of the contract.
Wow.
Like if he comes in at 3.5 hours week 1 of this season, he could void the whole future guarantees. Now, of course, it's up to the Cardinals to do that, but then you wonder how they're monitoring this. Is it some kind of Big Brother thing?
Right. How do you even enforce it, or how are you going to say whether or not he fully watched it, or he had the music on, or he was on social media? Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like it to me, it just sounded like they wanted to embarrass him and let everybody know that he doesn't put in the work that, you know what I mean, to make that public.
Absolutely. You just said it. It's embarrassing for both sides.
Yes.
I'm sure Burkhart and Murray do not like this being out there and everyone like us talking about it. As far as the Cardinals...
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah. I think they leaked it. I mean, I don't know who else would. Maybe it's another team. Maybe it's another agent. But it's out there, and the Cardinals aren't, making a statement that they're pissed at someone putting it out there. So, yeah, it's like, hey, you got the 46 million number out there. We're putting this out there.
The guy that hasn't been paid yet is, of course, Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
And I don't know what to make of it. I mean, obviously, we saw the reports months ago that he wasn't really pushing it, and the Ravens were wanting to get a deal done, but Lamar's like, I got to win a Super Bowl first and all that stuff.
I like that he's saving the agent fee. I do like that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what is going on? Do you put this on Lamar? And I get it, he doesn't have an agent, but you could have a lawyer.
No,
right?
That's
I mean,
you
and your mom don't need to be doing this. So do you put this on Lamar? I've heard guys say it's smart of him because he's just going to get more money in the future. I'm not so sure about that because if he gets hurt or whatever. But what do you – this situation is strange to me.
Yeah, two things, and I wrote about this at Sports Illustrated. Number one, is it on him or is it on the Ravens? To me, that it depends entirely on what the offer is. If this is what we just talked about, if their offer is some kind of traditional structure with 2 or 3 years guaranteed, like Kyler's signing, I think it's probably on the Ravens why he hadn't signed. If their offer is a Watson-like offer, then it's on Lamar. But I just don't, Bisciotti was at the owners' meetings really saying he was kind of pissed at the Browns for what they did. So he knows it hit him directly. As far as the agent fee, listen, this business is so competitive. I mean, there would be agents doing this. The max you can get is 3%. I would think their agents would do this for under 1%.
Right.
So he wouldn't, he'd save some money, but he could get a big-time agent to do this for, a flat fee or, I don't know what's going on with the agent part of it, but if it's all about saving money, I don't know. And have the Ravens offered? What are they talking like a Mahomes deal, which I don't think is a great deal, or are they talking a
we were just
Dak
saying
Prescott
that
deal?
The Mahomes deal was bad. I mean, he had all the leverage in the world, and he didn't capitalize on it.
I don't see how Lee Steinberg let that thing go through. Like, do you think Mahomes was just pushing for that, or?
This is the media game, that came out after that. Still people talk about it as $450 million, $500 million, which is the headline they wanted. But you look closer at the deal. I mean, the 3-year cash flow of $63 million,
which is ridiculous.
Yeah, these guys are all getting $100 million plus over 3. But I don't want to bash Mahomes. He was in the paper this week saying I'm not going to look at other people, but he will in a couple of years.
He's going to be the 9th or 10th highest paid quarterback pretty soon, and he'll look. Yeah,
I just think the length is what teams want, 12 years. Josh Allen's a 9-year deal.
Oh.
Kyler's 7 years. I think the best deal for a young quarterback out there is Dak Prescott. He did a 4-year deal. I think it's $160, so that's $40 a year. But he's going to be a free agent again at age 29. Yep. That's how you do it. That's how you do it in business.
We got one more quick question. I know we got a break. We got less than a minute. The Jimmy Garoppolo scenario and Trey Lance, I think it's a mistake in that you got a quarterback and a team ready to win, and you're not sure where Trey Lance is. It's been mixed reviews. Why not just play it out with Jimmy G on a team where a guy took you to the Super Bowl and you were one game away from another Super Bowl? I'm just surprised.
They're taking that threat away from Trey. I mean, they're handing the keys to the franchise, and you knew they would at some point draft him 3 and trade him 2 number ones. But they're taking that threat away. Jimmy will not be there. I mean, unless he takes a drastic pay cut, they can't find anyone else, I guess. But they have decided it's time, and maybe they take a step back. But it's all for the future. They have invested a ton into this kid.
Okay.
And he better be good.
He better be good.
No margin of error there.
Absolutely. Let's get to another quarterback, and we talked about him a little bit with Andrew Brandt, Lamar Jackson. And, of course, The Athletic, we talked about it yesterday. They published their quarterback tiers. They do it annually. This was the 9th time. And Lamar Jackson was in tier 2, Rob. And so the quotes, though, some of these quotes from anonymous coaches, executives, scouts, all that stuff, quarterback coaches. Here's an anonymous quote from a defensive coordinator, which is legit because that's who defends against Jackson. So here's what he said. If he has to pass to win a game, they ain't winning the game. He's so unique as an athlete, and he's really a good football player. But I don't care if he wins the league MVP 12 times. I don't think he'll ever be a 1, meaning a tier one as a quarterback. He'll be a 1 as a football player, but not as a quarterback. So many games come down to 2 minutes, and that is why they have a hard time advancing, even when they're good on defense. Playoffs are tight. You have to be able to throw the ball, and he is just so inconsistent throwing the ball. It's hit or miss. Your thoughts, Rob?
I think that the quotes are very harsh on him about he could win it 12 times or MVP, and you don't care. He did have a couple of big games. What was the big game, Rob G, against Miami where he threw for 442 yards and came back and threw the ball to help them come back and win? So to say that he can't do it or it's not possible, I think that's a stretch to say that he can't because we have seen him do it. Is he the best passer in the league? No. But I think you got to give the man respect. I thought it was about winning. And no matter how you get it, he has a unique talent. And sure, he's not your prototypical stand-in-the-pocket quarterback, but that's what makes him unique. That's what makes him so tough to defend. And I don't think he has to be Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady or any of those guys with throwing the football in order to be effective and to win. And I think that defensive coordinator was a little over the top and disrespectful for what he's been able to accomplish.
Well, look, I get it. I don't think Lamar Jackson is a great passer. And he's actually, his numbers passing the football have declined the last few years. You know, Rob, I've talked about I'd like to see him with an elite receiver, just like we saw DeAndre Hopkins help Kyler Murray. We saw Stephon Diggs help Josh Allen. But they've tried. And granted, these guys aren't Hall of Famers necessarily, but they went after Kenny Golladay. They went after Juju Smith-Schuster. Heck, Juju Smith-Schuster and T.Y. Hilton turned down more money, bigger offers from the Ravens to go back to their old teams because I can only assume that they didn't think he would get them the football like they wanted it. Marquis Brown, Hollywood Brown, his friend, played with him a few years ago.
Juju has numbers?
Just left.
Juju had numbers with the Steelers?
Well, he did earlier. Remember, he hadn't been as good.
Yeah, since when Antonio Brown was on the team.
Right. As the second guy. He was great.
Has he gotten it since? I'm just saying. No.
But my point is, it's noteworthy that these guys, I get it as a receiver, I want to go to somebody, I don't care how cool you are, I want to go to somebody that's going to be a great passer if I'm a receiver. All that said, the quote's ridiculous. I don't care if he wins MVP 12 times. And I get it. That's just an overstatement. But let's say he won it 3 or 2, Rob. Don't tell me if he's a 2 or 3-time MVP, he's not a tier 1 quarterback.
I agree.
Because as you said, it's about winning. My problem, I don't even want to say a problem with a running quarterback. Because one, they're exciting. They are effective. But I think the questions I have about being a running quarterback is the longevity. How long can you do that? Whether it's you get hurt or whether, as you know, you age naturally and you lose a little bit of your quickness, are you as effective? That's my only, I don't care about what it looks like. First of all, it looks great. But I don't care that, Rob, you don't have to do the 5-step drop, 7-step drop, and, stand tall in the pocket to impress me. Win. That's what impresses me, winning. And Lamar Jackson has done that. He is a weapon unparalleled to some degree and with his legs.
And we heard that with Tim Tebow. When Tim Tebow had his run, not everybody, Chris, there were a lot of players. And I remember
he was a horrible quarterback.
Right. But there were people who were like, well, but he win. Just win. All he does is win. And that was the excuse. It doesn't matter how ugly it looks. So what if he had 79 yards through the first 3 quarters? So it was like crazy.
79.
Yeah. I mean,
I think that's an overstatement.
Right. But you know what I'm saying? Like it was crazy. And it was it was about winning. And it was about winning. And Tebow brought definitely different a skill set, Chris, than most, right? Because he wasn't a passer, but he could do other stuff.
You make an interesting point. And look, is this a racial thing? I don't know. Obviously, you got black quarterbacks who are great passers, and they
big time great passers, right?
But I'm gonna say this, Rob. If Tim Tebow had the resume in the NFL of Lamar Jackson, I don't know that he'd be receiving this type of criticism. I think it'd be like, oh, he's redefined the position. Now, granted, he'd still be an anomaly, right?
Right.
It's not like you'd be saying, this is the prototypical quarterback.
And we will give the writers, because who he was a unanimous MVP. I mean, let's not so people understood his effect on the game.
That year, he was phenomenal.
He was phenomenal, Chris. And I'm just saying, so we're not trying to act like he gets no credit or whatever. You don't become a unanimous MVP because people don't think you could play.
Yeah. And I don't know. Again, I'm not saying it's racial. I do believe, though, Rob, if it was Tim Tebow, I don't know that he'd be getting this credit.
Yeah, and you again, might be right. You might be right. Because
Lamar's been 18 times better than Tebow.
Right. It ain't even close. It ain't even close. Right.
So that would be Tebow wasn't even close to what Lamar's done. But that's not the point we're trying to make, though. The point is it's a ridiculous quote because if Lamar Jackson wins MVPs, that means the team is winning. And he might be doing it with his legs primarily, but he's doing it. So, Rob, I got my concerns about him. I think he's been down. The stats just show it the last 2 years, running and passing the football. So he needs to have a big year. Obviously, his stock is dropped.
And stay healthy, too.
But his stock is dropped, and stay healthy. And like we said, Rob, I don't know. Maybe the Ravens are lowballing him. But, Lamar, get your loot, man. Sign your paper. All right.